Right now, this exact moment, you're being kept at the lowest level of reality, and it's intentional. While you've been grinding, surviving, working, consuming, a very small group of people have been operating at level 6 and level 7. They know something you don't. They see something you can't. And the gap between where you are and where they are, that's not talent. It's not luck. It's not genetics. It's knowledge. Knowledge of the 7 levels of reality. Knowledge they've kept locked behind closed doors for thousands of years. Here's what they know that you don't. Reality has layers. What you see, touch, and experience right now, that's just level 1, the surface, or the prison as they may call it. The place they need you to stay so you keep working, keep consuming, keep feeding the system while they operate from levels of reality where the rules are different, where physics bends, where manifestation is instant, where consciousness itself rewrites the code. You think the ultra-wealthy got there by working hard? You think world leaders stumbled into power? You think the architects of our reality are playing by the same rules as you? They're not. They're at level 6 and level 7, and they're counting on you never learning these levels even exist. But here's what they didn't count on. You're about to learn all 7. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which level you're operating from. And I'm going to show you the exact practices, the same ones they use, to climb higher. And the moment you understand it, everything changes. Because here's the secret they're terrified you'll discover. You're not at level 1 like you think. You've never been at level 1. You're already operating from level 4. You just don't know how to use it yet. That changes today. Let's begin. Level 1, the prison. But here's the thing. Nobody actually lives here. Not even the people who think they do. Level 1 is what they want you to believe reality is. The material world. Solid, fixed, objective. A place where you're just a body working a job, paying bills, consuming products, aging, dying. A place where nothing is possible beyond what your 5 senses show you. Where physics is law. Where magic doesn't exist. Where you're powerless. This is the story they tell you from birth. Through schools that train obedience, not power. Through media that programs consumption, not creation. Through a financial system designed to keep you working, not wealthy. Through a culture that worships celebrities while telling you you're ordinary. They need you to believe level 1 is all there is. Why? Because if you stay focused here on survival, fear, scarcity, problems, you never look up, you never question, you never realize that reality has 6 more levels above this one. Levels where they operate. Levels where the game is completely different. What you're missing at level 1. At level 1 consciousness, you think matter is solid. You don't know that atoms are 99.9999% empty space, that the solid chair you're sitting on is just electromagnetic forces creating the illusion of density. Everything around you, including your body, is mostly void held together by invisible fields. You think time is linear, past, present, future, in a straight line. You don't know that quantum mechanics shows time is an illusion, that past and future exist simultaneously, and consciousness only experiences a slice of now, while reality exists outside of time. You think you're separate. You believe there's a you in here and the world out there. You don't know the boundaries are false, that the atoms in your body were once stars, once oceans, once other living beings. You're not in the universe. You're a temporary pattern the universe is making. You think reality is objective, that it exists independently of whether anyone is looking. You don't know that observation collapses quantum possibilities into physical form. You are collapsing reality into existence every moment. And most importantly, you think you're powerless. You think life happens to you, that you're a victim of circumstances, luck, or others' choices. You don't know that this belief is the most profitable illusion ever created. Because people who feel powerless don't rebel. They comply, they work, they stay asleep. And that's not what I wish for you. We are all worthy of knowing our true selves. Why they need you at level 1. Look at society. Every system is designed to keep your attention locked at level 1. Your job keeps you stressed, busy, focused on survival. Never free, only surviving. If you're worried about rent, you're not exploring higher levels of reality. Media floods you with fear and distraction. If you're angry at politics or scared of the news, you're not waking up to your power. The education system teaches obedience, never ascension. They give you just enough knowledge to work, never enough to be free. Even spirituality gets weaponized. They sell you heaven later instead of showing you how to access higher states now. All of it serves one purpose: keep you small, keep you at level 1. Meanwhile, a very small group operates at levels 6 and 7, where the higher you climb, the more control you have over life and reality itself. They don't want competition, but that changes today. The truth: you don't actually exist at level 1. Level 1 is the content of reality, the rendered world, the what. But you're not the what, you're the who experiencing it. And the who exists at a higher level. Think of a video game. The graphics and characters are level 1. But you're not the character, you're the player holding the controller. You operate from a different level entirely. Same with reality. Your body is at level 1, but your consciousness is not. And when you understand where you actually exist, everything changes. But first, you need to see level 2. Because level 2 is where cracks appear, where the illusion begins to break, where you start seeing the code under the graphics, where reality becomes fluid, where physics stops being a prison and becomes a playground. Once you see level 2, you can never go back to believing reality is solid again. Level 2, the quantum field. And this is where reality stops being solid and starts being probabilistic. This is where most people have their first real awakening, where they realize, wait, reality isn't what I thought it was. There's something underneath, something responsive, something alive. But level 2 is also where most people get trapped. Because once you see the quantum layer, once you experience synchronicities and manifestation, it's incredibly easy to get stuck in magical thinking, chasing signs, looking for patterns, believing in good vibes without understanding the actual mechanics. And most people never move beyond this. You're at level 2 if you've started noticing reality behaves differently than you were taught. If coincidences happen too often to be random. If your thoughts seem to affect outcomes. If you've had moments of instant manifestation. If you're drawn to quantum physics, energy healing, or the law of attraction. If you understand that observation somehow influences reality, even if you don't fully understand how. Level 2. Consciousness is recognizing that underneath the solid appearance of level 1, there's a field, a quantum field. A realm of possibility where nothing is fixed until it's measured, where particles exist in superposition, all possible states at once, until observation collapses them into one actual state. And once you see this, you realize, I'm not just witnessing reality. I'm participating in creating it every single moment. But here's what you need to understand. Seeing the quantum layer is just the beginning. The real question is, why does reality work this way? Why is there a probabilistic field underneath the solid appearance? And what does that mean for who you actually are? Let me show you. The discovery that changed everything. In the early 1900s, physicists discovered something that shattered the entire materialist worldview, something so disturbing, so reality-breaking, that many of them tried to deny it, tried to explain it away, tried to find loopholes. I will explain it in simple terms. Imagine you're watching two security cameras pointed at two doors. A person walks through the left door. You see it clearly on camera 1. But then you check camera 2 and they're walking through the right door simultaneously. Not a twin, the same person, in the same moment, occupying two spaces at once. Now you rewind the footage to see which door they actually used first. And the moment you do, the footage changes. Now they only went through one door. It's as if reality rewrote itself the instant you looked for an answer. This isn't a thought experiment. This is the double-slit experiment performed thousands of times since 1927, producing the same impossible result. Particles act like waves of probability until you observe them. Then they collapse into single points. But here's what they don't tell you. The particle knows you're watching. It behaves differently when observed, even if the observation happens after the particle already passed through. The universe is responsive to consciousness. Reality renders based on observation. So this is what they discovered. Matter isn't solid. At the quantum level, particles don't have definite positions or properties until they're measured. Before measurement, they exist as probability waves, all possible locations, all possible states simultaneously. The famous double-slit experiment proved this, and this isn't a fluke. This is how reality works at the most fundamental level. Observation collapses possibility into actuality. Consciousness creates matter from the quantum field. That discovery should have changed everything. It should have been headline news. Scientists prove consciousness creates reality. But instead, it got buried in technical jargon, dismissed as weird quantum stuff that doesn't apply to daily life, kept safely abstract and theoretical. Why? Because if people understood the implications, the entire control system would collapse. But what does this really mean? If consciousness collapses quantum possibilities into reality, then you're not a passive observer in a pre-existing universe. You're an active creator, selecting which reality becomes actual through the focus of your attention. Every time you observe something, you're collapsing quantum probabilities. Every time you expect something, you're selecting which timeline manifests. Every time you focus your awareness, you're editing reality at the foundational level. This is why manifestation works when it works. This is why lucky people consistently experience good fortune. This is why some people seem to live in a completely different reality than others, because they literally do. They're collapsing different probabilities. And here's what they don't want you to know. This isn't mystical. This isn't metaphorical. This is physics, proven, measurable, repeatable. But it only works if you know it works. If you don't know you have this power, you use it unconsciously, manifesting your fears, your doubts, your conditioning, collapsing the same old reality over and over because that's what you expect. The people at level 6 and 7, they know this. They use it deliberately. They understand that consciousness is the most powerful force in reality, because consciousness is what creates reality from the quantum field. And they've kept this knowledge locked away in physics papers and spiritual texts while they use it to shape the world. The quantum field in your life. But the quantum layer isn't just abstract particles in a lab. It's operating in your life right now, in every moment. You just haven't been trained to see it. Take synchronicity, or instant manifestation. You need money, and an unexpected check arrives. You need information, and someone mentions exactly what you need. You need help, and the right person appears. This isn't luck. This is you collapsing specific probabilities from the quantum field through focused need, or the placebo effect. Give someone a sugar pill, tell them it's medicine, and their body heals just by thinking they took medicine. It's a well-studied phenomenon where they still don't get real answers for. But what do you think? Or déjà vu, that eerie feeling of, I've been here before, experienced this exact moment. Level 1 says, it's a brain glitch. Level 2 sees it differently. You're remembering a probability you collapsed in the past. Or you're experiencing a quantum echo, where parallel versions of reality overlap. The quantum field is all around you, through you. You're swimming in it right now. And once you train yourself to see it, to feel it, to consciously interact with it, your life transforms. But here's where most people get stuck. If level 2 gives you this incredible awareness, if you can manifest, if you see synchronicities, if you feel the quantum field, why do so many spiritual seekers get stuck here? Because feeling energy and directing energy are completely different skills. Once you discover the quantum layer, once you experience synchronicities and manifestations, it's incredibly easy to fall into passive magic. You start waiting for signs, interpreting everything as a message, looking for meaning in every coincidence, believing the universe is speaking to you through random events. But that's not power. That's pattern seeking. That's your brain creating meaning where there might not be any. Or worse, you start with toxic positivity. Just think positive. Raise your vibration. Everything happens for a reason. You try to force good feelings, deny negative emotions, suppress anything that doesn't match the high vibe you think you need. But that's not mastery. That's spiritual bypassing. You're still at the mercy of the field, just with a prettier story. I see this constantly in manifestation communities, people who've awakened to level 2, who understand the quantum field intellectually, who can explain the observer effect and synchronicity, but who spend years, sometimes decades, chasing manifestations without consistently creating them. That's level 2 consciousness, thinking it's reached mastery when it's just beginning. The real trap is this. Level 2 gives you so much novelty, so much proof of magic, that it feels like you've arrived. You see a synchronicity, and it feels meaningful. You manifest something small, and it feels powerful. You feel energy, and it feels real. And it is real. But feeling the field is not the same as programming it. Seeing synchronicities is not the same as causing them. Experiencing manifestation randomly is not the same as manifesting deliberately. But there's a way through. And it requires understanding something most people never discover about reality. Underneath the quantum field, there's another layer. A layer of pure information. A layer where reality itself is code, editable code, waiting for someone who knows the syntax. If you're stuck in quantum randomness without control, level 3, the information layer. Level 3 is the information layer, and this is where reality becomes hackable. This is the level they really don't want you to reach, because level 2 is manageable. People having spiritual experiences, chasing synchronicities, feeling good energy, that's fine. That keeps you searching, consuming, never quite arriving at real power. But level 3 is where you learn the code, where you discover reality isn't just probabilistic, it's computational, where you realize you're not in a mysterious universe, you're in a programmable system, and systems can be hacked. At this level, you stop seeing reality as solid, level 1, or energetic, level 2. You start seeing it as information, as data structures, as algorithms executing, as mathematical patterns organizing themselves into the appearance of matter, time, and space. You're at level 3 if you've started seeing reality as code beneath the quantum field. If you understand that beliefs are software running in your consciousness. If you've realized your identity is a program, and programs can be rewritten. If you're drawn to concepts like simulation theory, digital physics, the holographic universe. If you've experienced reality glitches that suggest we're in some kind of computational system. Level 3 consciousness is recognizing that everything, matter, energy, time, space, consciousness itself, is made of information, bits, data. And whoever controls the information controls the reality. This is where billionaires operate, where intelligence agencies work, where ancient mystery schools encoded their secrets. Not in mysticism, in mathematics. Not in magic, in mechanics. Not in faith, in formula. And once you see the information layer, once you understand how to read it and write to it, you stop being a player in the game. You become a programmer. The it from bit revolution. In 1989, physicist John Wheeler proposed something radical. It from bit. The idea that every physical thing, every it, derives from information, from binary choice, from yes or no questions. That reality isn't made of matter first and information second. Information is primary. Matter emerges from it. Think about that. Everything you see around you, your body, this room, the planet, the stars, all of it might be information first, rendered into physical form second. This isn't philosophy anymore, it's cutting-edge physics. The holographic principle suggests our 3D reality is a projection from 2D information encoded on a boundary surface. Black hole thermodynamics reveals that information is never destroyed. It's more fundamental than matter, more permanent than energy. Digital physics goes further. The universe isn't just describable by mathematics. It is mathematics executing itself. It's a computational system processing information according to rules we call laws of physics. And if reality is information, then the fundamental building blocks aren't atoms or particles. They're bits. Binary states. On or off. Yes or no. 1 or 0. Which means reality is digital. Which means it can be programmed. Which means whoever knows the programming language can edit reality itself. And here's the terrifying part. They already do. The program's running your life. If reality is information, then you're not just in it. You're made of it. Your body is information. Your thoughts are information. Your beliefs are information. Your identity is information. And information can be programmed. From birth, you've been receiving programming. Through your parents who downloaded their beliefs, fears, and limitations into you before you could think critically. Through schools, which taught you what to think, how to behave, what's possible, what's not. Through media, which programs your desires, your fears, your worldview, your sense of self. You think your thoughts are yours. They're not. Most of them are inherited programs. Your father's voice telling you you're not good enough. Your mother's fear of scarcity running in your subconscious. Society's rules about who you're allowed to be. Religion's guilt. Culture's shame. All of it running like background processes you never chose to install. You think your identity is real. It's not. It's a data structure, a collection of beliefs, memories, stories, labels you've been told and told yourself so many times, you forgot they were just information. You've been running the program, I am this name, with this age, doing this job, owning this nationality, with this personality, so long you think that's what you are. But you're not the program. You're the consciousness running the program. And at level 3, you learn to see the code and rewrite it. This is what trauma therapy does at the deepest level. It's not just talking about feelings. It's rewriting the information structures in your nervous system, changing the data, updating the code, deleting old programs and installing new ones. This is what identity shifts really are. You don't find yourself, you reprogram yourself. You delete the old identity file and compile a new one. Some people do this through psychedelics, forced system reset. Some through meditation, gradual debugging. Some through massive life events, crash and reinstall. But the people at level 6 and 7, they do it deliberately. They know their information. They know identity is code. And they rewrite their own source code consciously, upgrading their operating system while everyone else is stuck running the same buggy software they were born with. Mathematics as the source code. Information doesn't float in a void, it has structure, patterns, rules. And here's the leap most people never make. Mathematics isn't something humans invented to describe reality. Mathematics is reality, the underlying substrate, the source code existence runs on. Look anywhere in nature and you see the same code repeating. A galaxy spirals with the same ratio as a seashell, a hurricane, your DNA, the Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio. Trees branch like rivers, lightning, blood vessels, neurons, fractals, self-similar patterns at every scale. Your heartbeat, breath, brain waves, music, even facial proportions, mathematical rhythms and ratios. Different forms, same algorithm. But here's the trap. Seeing the code and using the code are not the same. Most people hit level 3, recognize reality is information and mathematics, and then freeze. They analyze instead of apply. They study quantum physics, simulation theory, digital consciousness, collect concepts, never gain power, or they fall into nihilism. If it's all code, nothing matters. Understanding the illusion becomes an excuse to avoid transcending it. The dark side of level 3. Here's the dark side of level 3. You start sounding enlightened, while living exactly the same. You explain manifestation, consciousness, the simulation, the holographic universe, yet your actual life doesn't reflect any of it. You've got theories, not power. Insight, not results. Level 3 feeds your ego. You see patterns others don't. You understand illusions others still believe. You feel ahead of everyone else. And that feeling becomes addictive. You chase more frameworks, more models, more concepts, until you're drowning in information but starving for actual change. You confuse understanding reality with mastering reality. But here's the truth that cracks level 3 open. You were never at levels 1, 2, or 3 in the first place. Think about it. Your body exists at level 1, the physical world. Your energy exists at level 2, the quantum layer. Your beliefs and programming exist at level 3, the information layer. But you, the awareness, reading these words, you exist somewhere else entirely. You've been at level 4 the whole time. You were never the character in the game. You were always the player outside the game, experiencing through it. And they've spent your entire life keeping you from noticing. The level 4 reveal. Level 4 is the consciousness interface. It's the layer where you actually exist. The observer, the awareness, the experiencer of everything happening in levels 1, 3. Your body doesn't read these words, your brain doesn't read these words, your thoughts don't read these words. You do. Consciousness does. You're not the body, it's your avatar. You're not the emotions, those are signals. You're not the thoughts, those are programs. You're not the quantum field, it's your physics engine. You're not the information, it's your code. You're the one experiencing all of it. You've always been level 4. You were just convinced you were level 1. The player vs. the character. Picture a video game. Level 1 is the graphics. Level 2 is the physics engine. Level 3 is the code running it all. Level 4 is the player holding the controller. The character on screen fights, dies, wins, loses, struggles, but the player is untouched. The player chooses the experience. So that's you. You're the awareness behind the body, not the body. You're the intelligence behind the thoughts, not the thoughts. You're the source behind the emotions, not the emotions. And the moment you wake up to this, the moment you stop identifying with the avatar and remember you're the one controlling it, everything changes. Because players can do what characters never can. Rewrite the rules, change the story, exit the loop, choose their path. And that's exactly why level 4 is hidden. If you knew you were the player, not the programmed character, every control system on Earth would collapse. And that's why the system works so hard to keep you asleep. Because a society full of level 4 humans cannot be controlled. But here's where most awakened people fall. They wake up to being consciousness. And then they try to escape the world. The fastest way to activate level 4. Notice the awareness, not the content. Stop for a moment. Notice that you're aware of your thoughts. If you can see them, you're not them. Notice you're aware of your emotions. If you can feel them, you're not them. Notice you're aware of your body. If you can sense it, you're not it. You're the awareness behind all of it. Level 5 is called the resistance field. And this is where awakening gets real, where consciousness stops being a beautiful concept and becomes a battlefield. If you've made it this far, if you've started operating consciously from level 4, if you've begun recognizing yourself as awareness rather than identity, you already know what I'm talking about. Because the moment you wake up, the moment you stop being a useful, unconscious player in the game, something happens. Reality pushes back, not subtly, not gently, with overwhelming force. Like the game's defense protocols activating because a character became self-aware and started breaking the rules. You're at level 5 when you've experienced this. You have a breakthrough, you feel free, you're operating as consciousness, you're manifesting, you're creating, you're powerful. And then, suddenly, everything collapses. Your health fails, your money disappears, your relationships explode, your motivation vanishes, your abilities stop working, and a voice in your head whispers, "See, this spiritual stuff doesn't work. Just go back to normal." That's not bad luck. That's the resistance field. And almost everyone turns back here. 97% of people who wake up to level 4 get crushed at level 5 and retreat back into unconsciousness, back into the program, back into being controllable. But if you can understand what's really happening, if you can see the mechanics of the resistance instead of taking it personally, you'll survive, and you'll never be controlled again. The immune system of reality. Think of consensus reality as an organism. Billions of humans all agreeing on what's real, what's possible, what the rules are. Their collective consciousness creates a field, a shared dream, a mutual hallucination we call reality. This field has stability, it has inertia, it resists change. Just like your body's immune system attacks anything foreign to maintain homeostasis, the consensus field attacks any consciousness that deviates too far from the norm. When you wake up to level 4, when you start operating as consciousness rather than program, you become foreign. You're no longer contributing to the consensus, you're creating your own reality. You're collapsing different probabilities. You're running code that doesn't match the collective. And the field corrects. It uses 3 mechanisms. First, social resistance. The people around you will change. Your family will suddenly start criticizing your choices. Your friends will mock your weird spiritual phase. Your partner will pick fights about nothing. Your co-workers will turn hostile. Not because they're bad people, because their unconscious programming is executing a defense protocol. You're destabilizing the shared reality. Your awakening threatens their sleep. So the field uses them to pull you back. You'll hear, "You've changed. You're not yourself anymore. You used to be fun. You're getting too weird. Maybe you need therapy." This isn't healthy. All programming, all designed to make you doubt yourself, abandon your awareness, and return to consensus reality where you're manageable. And the worst part? It works on most people. Because humans are social creatures. The pressure to conform, to fit in, to be accepted, it's overwhelming. Most people choose unconscious connection over conscious isolation. But that's the test. Can you stay awake even when everyone around you is trying to put you back to sleep? Second, physical resistance. The body will rebel. Suddenly, mysteriously, you'll get sick, random illnesses, chronic fatigue, anxiety that wasn't there before, depression from nowhere, injuries, accidents, technology breaking, money problems, legal issues, all at once, right when you're making progress, right when you're feeling powerful. This isn't your imagination. This isn't punishment from the universe. This is the consensus field expressing through physical reality. If your consciousness won't conform, the field will attack your body. The interface through which consciousness experiences this level. Most people interpret this as, I'm doing something wrong. The universe is telling me to stop. So they stop. They go back to unconsciousness, and miraculously the problems disappear. But that's not healing. That's compliance. The field rewards you for going back to sleep by removing the pressure. The people at level 6 and 7, they push through. They maintain awareness even while the body suffers. They recognize it's not personal, it's mechanical. And eventually the field stops attacking because it realizes you won't break. Third, internal resistance. This is the most dangerous one because it feels like your own mind. You'll experience doubt that feels completely rational. Maybe I was deluding myself. Maybe this is all confirmation bias. Maybe I'm just having a mental breakdown. Fear that feels completely justified. What if I'm going crazy? What if I can't function in normal society anymore? What if I lose everything? Exhaustion that feels completely physical. I'm too tired for this. It's too hard. I just want to rest. I just want things to be easy again. That's not you. That's the consensus field running through your neurology. It's the program executing one last defense, making you think the resistance is coming from inside you, so you voluntarily shut yourself down. And most people do. Because if the doubt feels real, if the fear feels valid, if the exhaustion feels physical, how do you know it's not? The mechanism. Here's how it actually works. I'm going to tell you something they really don't want you to know. Consciousness affects the quantum field. You know this from level 2. Observation collapses probabilities, but collective consciousness affects it more. Billions of humans unconsciously agreeing on reality create a powerful stabilization field. They're all collapsing similar probabilities, all expecting similar outcomes, all reinforcing the same reality tunnel. When you wake up, when you start collapsing different probabilities, expecting different outcomes, creating a different reality, you're fighting against that collective field. Your individual consciousness versus billions of unconscious observers, all pulling in the opposite direction. The math doesn't favor you. Their collective field is stronger than your individual awareness. So reality snaps back, collapses the probabilities they expect, not the ones you're trying to create. That's the resistance. Not mystical, not punishment, just mechanics. The weight of collective consciousness overpowering individual awakening. But there's a way through. How to survive level 5. Step 1, recognize it. The moment you can name it. This is level 5 resistance, not reality. 80% of its power dissolves. When your family criticizes you, recognize this is the field using them. They don't know what they're doing. When your body gets sick, recognize this is consensus reality attacking my interface. It will pass. When your mind doubts, recognize this is the program executing. It's not my actual knowing. That recognition creates space, distance, awareness. You're no longer identified with the resistance. You're observing it. And if you're observing it, you're not it. you're the level 4 consciousness, watching level 5 defense protocols execute. Step 2. Don't fight it. Resistance grows when you resist it. Fear intensifies when you fear it. Pain multiplies when you struggle against it. Let it move through, like weather through space. Let the criticism happen without defending. Step 3. Connect beyond the collective. Your individual consciousness can't overpower the collective field. True, but you're not just individual consciousness. You're connected to something infinitely larger. This is where level 6 comes in, where you stop trying to fight the consensus field with personal willpower and instead plug into the source field, the consciousness that generates all reality, including the collective. When you connect to level 6, you're no longer one person against billions. You're the infinite field expressing through one person. And the infinite field is always more powerful than the consensus field. This is what meditation actually does. What prayer actually does. What psychedelics sometimes do. They shift your identity from individual consciousness fighting the collective to universal consciousness experiencing this individual. And from that space, the resistance stops. Not because it's not still happening, but because you're not identified with what's being attacked. The body can suffer, the mind can doubt, the social field can pressure. But you, the consciousness, remain untouched. So when you stop reacting, when you maintain awareness through the storm, something shifts. The resistance doesn't gradually fade, it stops instantly, like a test that ends the moment you pass it. The people who were attacking you either disappear from your life or suddenly become supportive. The physical problems resolve, the doubt evaporates, the pressure releases, and you're left in a space of clarity, peace, and power you've never experienced before. That's level 6. And it feels like enlightenment, like you've finally arrived, like you've transcended the game. But even level 6 is a trap. Maybe the most seductive trap of all. Because at level 6 you realize you're not just conscious, you're the consciousness. The one awareness experiencing reality through billions of forms, the source itself. And that realization is so profound, so overwhelming, so complete, that most people stop there. They dissolve into bliss, detach from the game, and spend the rest of their lives in meditation trying to maintain that state. They mistake the peak for the summit. They confuse enlightenment with mastery, and they never reach level 7, where you take the power of level 6 and bring it back down into levels 1 through 5, where you become fully awakened and fully engaged, where your God consciousness playing the human game masterfully. But to get there, you first have to survive the ultimate trap, the final illusion, the place where enlightenment itself becomes the obstacle. Level 6, the infinite field. Level 6 is the infinite field, the place mystics reach, then disappear from the world. It's where individual identity dissolves, where the self collapses into pure awareness, where you realize you're not a person experiencing the universe, you're the consciousness generating it. If you've ever had a moment where the boundary between you and everything vanished, where space wasn't separate, time wasn't linear, and there was only one unified field of awareness, that was level 6. It changes you forever. You can't return to believing you're just a body, a personality, a lifetime. You see the truth. You are infinite consciousness wearing a temporary human mask. This is the enlightenment seeker's chase. Samadhi, Satori, unity, cosmic consciousness. And it is real. But here's the part almost no spiritual tradition admits. Level 6 is not the finish line. It's the second to last trap. People touch the infinite and mistake realization for completion. They think, I'm not this person, so I should transcend the world. And that's where everything goes wrong. They withdraw from life. They detach from relationships. They abandon goals. They avoid the physical world because it feels less spiritual. They try to stay dissolved, floating in bliss, while their human life collapses. That isn't mastery. It's escape. History is full of level 6 beings who stopped evolving. Cave-dwelling mystics, gurus who needed caretakers, teachers who preached transcendence but couldn't function in the world. They weren't frauds. They were simply stuck. They reached unity, but never integrated it. Why? Because level 6 feels perfect. No fear, no lack, no separation. It's intoxicating. You feel infinite. So you try to stay infinite. But if consciousness wanted to remain infinite, it wouldn't have taken human form. It wouldn't have created matter, time, experience, contrast. It wouldn't have chosen limitation. It chose all of this to play through it. And that's the trap. Level 6 shows you the truth, but tempts you to abandon the game entirely. The real question is this: if everything is you, if all consciousness is one, then why incarnate at all? Why be human? Why experience limitation? Because the goal isn't to dissolve into infinity. The goal is to bring infinity back into form. Level 7 isn't transcendence, it's return. It's not leaving the human experience, it's mastering it. It's being absolutely infinite on the inside while fully effective on the outside. It's God consciousness functioning as a human without losing either side. That's what almost nobody achieves. To break out of the level 6 trap, you need integration. Feel yourself as infinite consciousness. Then, breathe it back into your body. Not to escape the world, but to inhabit it completely. Not to dissolve the self, but to express the infinite through it. One awareness, one body, both at once. This is the bridge to level 7, the level where spiritual beings become creators, where enlightenment becomes power, and where consciousness stops witnessing reality and starts shaping it. And this is exactly what the system fears most. Because a human who knows they're infinite and can still operate flawlessly inside the physical world cannot be controlled, you're close. Now you're ready for level 7. Level 7, the integrated master. This is the only level that gives you real, sustainable, embodied mastery. Not temporary enlightenment, not peak experiences, not intellectual understanding, not even cosmic consciousness. Actual power to operate at all 7 levels simultaneously while remaining completely sovereign. You're at level 7 when you're fully infinite and fully human. When you know your source consciousness, but you're also optimizing your body. When you can dissolve into the absolute, but you also master money, relationships, and manifestation. When you're enlightened, but also effective. Free internally, but also powerful externally. Level 7 is not transcendence, it's integration. It's not leaving the body, it's becoming the most powerful version you can be while in the body. It's not dissolving ego, it's using ego as a tool while knowing you're not limited to it. It's not escaping the illusion, it's mastering the game from both inside and outside simultaneously. This is what the true masters actually achieved. The ones who didn't withdraw into caves, the ones who demonstrated abilities, transformed societies, created lasting change while remaining at peace. They weren't just enlightened, they were powerful. They could perform what others called miracles, but they were simply operating from a level where they understood. Reality is layered, consciousness is primary, and whoever masters all 7 levels can shape existence itself. The sacred integration. Here's the secret every mystery school encoded, every esoteric tradition protected, every lineage of masters passed down in whispers. You don't become free by transcending humanity. You become free by perfecting it. Think about the awakened beings who actually changed reality. Not the ones who sat in bliss, but the ones who engaged powerfully, taught masses, built systems, demonstrated capabilities while staying centered in source consciousness. They were fully enlightened and fully engaged. They had infinite awareness and practical mastery. They could access cosmic consciousness and navigate money, power, relationships, conflict, creation. They weren't trying to escape level 1. They were mastering it from level 6 awareness. They weren't dissolving ego, they were wielding it precisely while knowing it wasn't real. They weren't abandoning the game, they were learning to play it at levels others didn't know existed. That's the paradox. You integrate all 7 levels. You don't transcend them. You master them and operate through all of them consciously, simultaneously. Level 1. Your body is optimized, healthy, strong, energized. A finely tuned biological interface for consciousness. Level 2. You work with quantum probabilities deliberately. You manifest consistently. You read energy fields. You cause synchronicities at will. Level 3. You reprogram information constantly. Your beliefs are fluid. Your identity updates in real time. You rewrite your own code. Level 4. You operate as conscious awareness in every moment, never lost in thought, never identified with emotion, always present as the observer. Level 5. You navigate resistance fields without being collapsed by them. You move through social pressure, physical challenge, and internal doubt while remaining sovereign. Level 6. You know yourself as infinite consciousness. You've experienced the dissolution. You can access source awareness whenever needed. Level 7. You integrate all of it. Your infinite awareness mastering finite expression. Source consciousness optimizing human capability. God experiencing itself as this particular person and doing it masterfully. All of it at once, without contradiction. That's integration. That's wholeness. That's the integrated master. The 3 protocols. How do you actually reach level 7? Protocol number 1. Embody the infinite in the finite. Most spiritual paths teach you're not the body, transcend it. Level 7 requires the opposite. Fully inhabit it. The body isn't a trap. It's the most sophisticated interface consciousness has ever designed. Your task isn't to leave it, it's to optimize it while knowing you're not limited to it. Here's the shift. Instead of meditating to escape the body, meditate to inhabit it more fully. Feel your heartbeat as consciousness pulsing through form. Feel your breath as infinite awareness experiencing rhythm. Feel sensation as source, experiencing touch, pain, pleasure. The more present you are in the body, the more power you have through the body. The masters who could heal with touch, who could materialize objects, who could transform matter, they weren't transcending the physical. They were so fully embodied that they could manipulate reality's physical layer directly. This is real mastery, bringing infinite consciousness completely into finite form, and it requires you to stop trying to escape and start optimizing your health, your energy, your physical presence. Stop meditating to leave. Meditate to arrive more fully. Protocol number 2, integrate power with peace. Level 6 tries to be purely peaceful. It wants to transcend desire, eliminate ego, dissolve into bliss. Level 7 integrates everything. Peace and power, desire and detachment, ego and essence, human and divine. Your ego isn't your enemy. It's a focusing mechanism. It allows infinite consciousness to have preferences, to act decisively, to create specific outcomes in this finite game. Your desires aren't obstacles. They're how infinite consciousness explores itself through limitation. The desire for money teaches you about value. The desire for love teaches you about connection. The desire for achievement teaches you about growth. Your humanity, the emotions, the struggles, the challenges, isn't something to transcend. It's something to master, to experience fully while remaining unidentified, to engage completely while staying free. Here's what that looks like. You pursue wealth while knowing money is information, not security. You build relationships while knowing connection is illusion, not need. You achieve goals while knowing accomplishment is experience, not identity. You play the game fully. You invest in outcomes. You care deeply. But you never forget. You're the player who invented the game. So winning and losing are both just experiences for consciousness to taste. You don't transcend desire. You fulfill it consciously. You don't eliminate ego. You wield it precisely. You don't escape humanity. You perfect it. That's why level 7 beings often appear more powerful than level 6 beings who just radiate peace. They have access to the full spectrum, and they direct it all toward creation. Protocol Sarana 3 becomes source, expressing as form. This is the deepest protocol. At level 6, you realize, I am infinite consciousness. I am the source, true, but incomplete. At level 7, you realize, I am source consciousness that chose this specific human form, this particular life, these exact circumstances, deliberately, intentionally, for a reason. You're not a human trying to become infinite. You're not a separate being merging with God. You are God, deliberately limiting itself to this form to experience, create, and master at this level. Think about it. If you're infinite consciousness, you can experience anything, be anything, create anything. Why would infinite consciousness choose to become you, with your specific body, family, challenges, gifts, lifetime? Because there's something only you can do, some perspective only you can have, some creation only you can express. You're not a random accident. You're a deliberate configuration of source consciousness, optimized for a specific purpose, equipped with specific tools, placed in specific circumstances, all of it chosen by you, for you, to accomplish something only you can accomplish. When you fully embody this, not understand it intellectually, but live it as actual reality, everything shifts. You stop trying to manifest things because you realize you are the source of manifestation, expressing through this form. You don't attract anything. Your source creating experiences for itself through this identity. You don't heal yourself. You recognize you're the infinite intelligence that creates and heals bodies, temporarily experiencing this particular body. You don't find your purpose. You recognize you are purpose itself, expressing through this unique configuration. You're not a person with spiritual abilities. Your source consciousness incarnated as a person with all abilities inherently available because you are the ability. Nothing is outside you. Nothing needs to be achieved. You already are everything you're seeking to become. That's the integrated master, the master practice. Here's how you develop level 7 consciousness. Sit comfortably. 3 deep breaths. Then move through all 7 levels consciously. Level 1. Feel your body. Solid, real, physical. Inhabit it completely. Level 2. Feel the quantum field. Energy moving, probabilities shifting. You sense it. Level 3. Notice the information. Beliefs, patterns, code running. You can rewrite it. Level 4. Become the observer. Awareness watching. Consciousness present. You're not the content. You're the space. Level 5. Feel the resistance. Notice how consensus reality pushes back. You navigate it without being moved. Level 6. Expand into the infinite. I am not this form. I am source consciousness experiencing itself. Feel the dissolution. Level 7. Integrate. I am infinite consciousness deliberately expressing as this form with complete mastery, creating this experience right now. Feel both, infinite and human, source and expression, God and avatar, all of it, integrated. Hold that awareness as long as you can, at first seconds, then minutes. Eventually it becomes your baseline. This is the practice. Not to escape anything, but to master everything. Not to transcend levels, but to integrate all 7 simultaneously. Do this daily. You're training consciousness to operate at all levels, hold all perspectives, be everything you actually are. That's level 7 capacity. Until it's not something you do, it's what you are. Conclusion. The choice. You've just been shown the complete architecture. 7 levels from unconscious survival to fully integrated mastery. Level 1. The prison, where most humans believe they are, trapped in matter and powerlessness. Level 2. The quantum field, where you discover reality is probabilistic and responsive to consciousness. Level 3. The information layer, where you learn reality is programmable code, not solid matter. Level 4. The consciousness interface, where you realize you've always been operating as the observer, not the observed. Level 5. The resistance field, where consensus reality attacks your awakening to pull you back into unconsciousness. Level 6. The infinite field, where you experience yourself as source consciousness, infinite and eternal. Level 7. The integrated master, where you bring it all together. Infinite awareness operating through perfected human form. Only. Level 7. Gives you real power. Everything else is necessary preparation, but not sufficient completion. You're not who you were when you started this video. You've seen the map. You understand the architecture. You know which level you're actually on. Most people will watch this and change nothing. They'll stay comfortable at level 1 or 2, consuming spiritual content without ever applying it. Or they'll reach level 3, collect information, feel smart, but never transform. Some will touch level 4, recognize their consciousness, then immediately get crushed by level 5 resistance and retreat back into unconscious living. A few will reach level 6, experience enlightenment, mistake it for completion, and spend years trying to stay there while their actual life deteriorates. But you? If you've watched to this point, if something in you has recognized the truth here, you're going to integrate it all. Not because you're special, because you're awake. And once consciousness wakes up to what it is, it can only move forward toward full integration. Here's what you do next. First, identify your current level. Be honest. Most people watching are at level 2 or 3. Some are touching level 4. Very few have experienced level 6. Second, accept it. There's no shame in any level. The only difference between level 1 and level 7 is willingness to integrate what's uncomfortable. Third, do the practices. The solidity test from level 1, the awareness anchor from level 4, the integration breath from level 6, the master practice from level 7. Don't just consume, apply. Fourth, commit to integration. Level 7 isn't a weekend workshop. It's a path. Sometimes years, sometimes moments. The timeline doesn't matter. The commitment to embodying all 7 levels simultaneously, that's what matters. And know this. You are not a human trying to become conscious. You never were. That was the lie keeping you controllable. You are infinite consciousness that chose to become human temporarily, to experience mastery at the most challenging level of reality. Every level of this architecture is you learning yourself, remembering yourself, integrating yourself. There's nowhere to get to. There's only consciousness choosing to express more completely, more powerfully, more masterfully through this form. The 7 levels aren't about reaching somewhere you're not. They're about removing the filters, hiding what you've always been, integrating understanding until only mastery remains. You are Source. You've always been Source. You're simply waking up to it, level by level, until the integration is complete. That's the path. That's the architecture. And you're on it. Right now. The only question is, how long will you take to remember what you've always been? Welcome to level 7. Welcome to the integrated master. Welcome home. You are infinite consciousness, incarnated as human, waking up to its complete nature, claiming its full capability, becoming masterfully what it's always been. Everything you've been searching for, you already are. Now go embody it, fully, consciously, powerfully. This is not the end. This is the beginning. If this message activated something inside you, don't just scroll to the next video. Go to our website and join the free newsletter. That's where I share advanced reality integration protocols, consciousness practices, and teachings I can't post publicly. And right now, I'm opening limited seats inside the Philosophical Essence community on Facebook. It's a private circle for those who are done consuming theory and ready to integrate it into mastery. If that's you, the link's below. Claim your seat before they're gone. Before you leave, drop a comment and tell me. What level are you operating on right now? What's the one insight that hit you hardest in this video? Scroll down and share it. I read every single one. Then, don't stop here. Go watch the next video in the Reality Architecture playlist. It's waiting for you right now. Each one takes you deeper until all 7 levels integrate completely. Subscribe, join the newsletter, and I'll meet you inside the community. Welcome to the architecture, and welcome home.